Hey, Redemption. Pastor Scott coming to you from my office with a little devotional thought for you this morning from Psalm chapter 91. I don't know about you, but one of the things that I'm wrestling with is the sovereign control of God over what is happening in our day. And Psalm 91, I think, has some important and very pertinent ideas and promises for us to take a hold of during this time. And I just want to give a couple thoughts about it. I'm going to read a couple select verses from Psalm 91 that says this: "Those who live in the shelter of the Most High will find rest in the shadow of the Almighty. This I declare about the Lord. He alone is my refuge, my place of safety. He is my God, and I trust him. For he will rescue you from every trap and protect you from deadly disease. Do not be afraid of the terrors of the night, nor the arrow that flies in the day. Do not dread the disease that stalks in darkness, nor the disaster that strikes at midday. Though 1,000 fall at your side, though 10,000 are dying around you, these evils will not touch you. If you make the Lord your refuge, if you make the Most High your shelter, no evil will conquer you, no plague will come near your home." This particular psalm makes some pretty amazing promises that God is going to protect us, some amazing claims. And so the question is how do we take hold of these claims today? See, there's one way we could take this, and we could say it this way, is that all those who do experience disease, who do experience these things that this psalm is talking about, it's because they don't have enough faith. They're unbelieving. They're not making God their refuge. And if we would make God our refuge, then we could absolutely claim these promises as absolute. Or, there's a second way we could take this. We could say that God does in fact rule over where the arrows go, and God does in fact rule over all the diseases all the time, and he does give health and life to his people. But that does not mean that we should presume upon these promises as absolutely true all the time. In other words, these promises come with qualifications. When he says things like 10,000 may fall at your right hand or no disease will approach you, he means for you to understand that there is a qualification. And what is that qualification? I think John Piper is helpful in this. He says it this way: that these will not approach you without my permission or design, and my design for those who are ever in my care is always good, even if I permit the arrow to take their life. What is the qualification that we should take these promises with? It's simply this: that if we fall at the sword, and if an arrow hits us, and if disease comes into our house, that it is always and only by the permission of God, for his design, for your good. So we should understand that God will give us safety and health, and yet when he doesn't, it's not a surprise. It's actually his divine permission that allows it to enter into our lives. His goodness is allowing us to actually experience that, and we know that it's for our own good. One of the reasons I think we should take these verses with these qualifications is that earlier in the Psalms, it says, "Many are the afflictions of the righteous," so that the righteous are not to be free from disease, or the righteous are not absolutely free from dying. Another reason I think we should take this to be with qualifications is when we look at Jesus himself. If there was ever someone who trusted God, who made the Father his refuge, and yet pestilence came after him, disease attacked him, and actually, in a sense, was put on the cross for our own sins, he took the arrow of death for us. Man, I think that goes without saying, that if Jesus put his trust in him, and yet he experienced these things, why? It's because of God's divine permission. And he did that, put Jesus on the cross for you. which means that we can know that when this divine permission comes into our life and maybe we get sick and maybe we catch the disease, we know that it is for our good. We look back to Jesus, look back to the cross, knowing that in our present day, our present situation, God's sovereign hand is ruling and allowing certain things into our own life for our good. So I pray that as we read Psalm 91 and read it in light of today, that we'll come to understand that these promises come with qualifications, but the qualifications are always by God's design for your good. So I hope that encourages you. Lord bless you. Have a great day.